Hey guys, what is up? It's Biff and I'm in the 25th Trans Am, a 1994 F-body Trans Am that we've had here in the Fearless Mods Garage since before the Fearless Mods Garage was the Fearless Mods Garage. And I just thought of something that I could show you that I did about 20 years ago on this car that could help you out. It has lasted, and it was, 20 years ago, this car was maybe 12 years old. And it had an issue that I needed to fix. And I didn't have a lot of money and didn't have the ability to just buy replacement stuff for no good reason. So I found a way around it. And I'm going to show you how to do it. Specifically, how to fix the buttons on your steering wheel so that the tactile feel of them and the function all still operates, even though yours have become mushy decades ago, and maybe you gave up on it, maybe you replaced them and those have since gone bad. But this is my own little redesign, if you will, and so today I'm going to share it with you. First thing we are going to do, since we're going to be dealing with the airbag system, is we're going to unhook the battery here so that we aren't supplying any power to it. Okay, I've got my 8mm wrench here, and I'm just going to go ahead and crack this thing loose. We're probably going to get a alarm. It's going to chirp as it makes intermittent contact, but once we get it pulled off, that will stop, never fear. There we go, it didn't even do it. All right, we are clear of the terminal, so we are good to get back inside. Inside here behind the steering wheel, we have a couple of bolts here. We have a T30, and up top we have a T27. So we'll go ahead and take these out so we can remove the airbag and button module. Now that pulls straight out. We've got our ground, probably for the horn. Couple of airbag clips here. Let's pull the blue thing back and see if we can get it to, there we go, pop out like that. Let's just try to unhook the clip and pull it off to give us a little more room here. Just pulled off this metal clip right here. Give myself a little more room. Oh, okay. I was able to just pull this clip back, and then it disengaged from this, and I was able to slide it out. Now we can pop this back on here. Okay, we're back on there. You can see that those T30s and T27s are captive in there, and they just stay with it. They just went into these holes here on the back of the module. So let's take it over to the bench where we can have a little better light and area to work around it. Here are our modules that we need to work on to get the clicky buttons to work. And in order to do that, we're gonna step down to these smaller Torx heads and remove all 4 of them, 2 from each side. So with that, these are now loose like this. Original Delco part number on here. I'm gonna go ahead and see if we can pull off this frame here so that we give it a little more room here with the wires so we're not pulling them so tight. T27s on these guys. And we're gonna use my little ratchet that I hardly ever use. Had this thing for years and I love it. Got it from Snap-on. But I hardly ever use it. There we go. Now we can pull these wires out from under this retainer right here carefully Keep in mind the retainer is very old, as are the wires. There we go. Now we got a little room to work with. So on this one, we actually have a date code, April 16th, 1994. Good clicks still after 20 years. So now you can see these little screws here. We're going to take these guys out, these little bolts. Those are really tiny. This is a 3/16, and that's going to work. And then that'll allow the back to come off. You can see the indicator lights, and these are the little push buttons that click. But the key is to make sure that we have something on this side that will actually cause them to click. And these things have stood the test of time. This is what I created, and this is what you need to do to make yours work. If I recall, the little nubs that were in there were almost like a thin little plastic rod with a T-head on top of it, and the entire thing just softened. The type of plastic softened over time and became squishy, so the buttons were just squishing on the actual shaft portion of this plunger. So I needed something solid that wasn't going to deteriorate over time and become squishy, and the toothpick has worked for 20 years. What you're trying to mimic here is about 3/10 of an inch, 0.312 is about what I got, and then the toothpick itself is toothpick width. It's just 0.87 thick, 0.86, 0.87 thick. And then the plunger head is, let's see what we got here, about 0.117, 0.120. And the idea of that just fits perfectly with a tight fit over the toothpick to give you this little piece and stay on there. I'll even give you the depth of the top of the plunger here. We can get this to measure here. The plunger is about 0.075. For those of you that are detail minded, you could cut that precise and it would be unnecessary, but it would get the job done. See just how easy it is to make this here. You can put your razor blade on your toothpick and roll it across it to snip off the end. Cuts pretty easily. And then the easiest thing to do is just going to be to take your ballpoint pen here and just twist it and push it on there until it looks like you got about that much engaged. And then take your razor blade and then just roll it along there again and cut it off at the end of that toothpick like that. So you got your nice little plunger right there ready to go. And then we just want to get it at about I'm going to try to be exact here, 0.312 like we had before. And that's going to put me right about right there. So now I've got my mark on there, and I'm just going to get in there and roll this along that until I cut through, and there's my new plunger. And the only other thing you got to do is I just picked up a little dielectric grease, just since it's around electrics, and we don't want petroleum of any sort like Vaseline or even oil, because that could cause it to degrade the plastic both on the tip of this and the housing over time. And I just put a little bit on it like that. I mean, you can't even see it anymore, but it's just enough to lubricate it and stick it down in there, and we're ready to go. You make 7 more of those in the 10 seconds it took to make it, and you are back in business and ready to install. And now that we know how to make the actual plunger on a budget, you don't need a 3D printer. We can look at the buttons themselves, and you can see right here where the 4 that correspond to the buttons on here have the 4 plungers in there, and they just set loosely in there. I did apply a little bit of grease to them back in the day when I did it, which is why these toothpicks look a little bit discolored. And you just drop it down into that Make sure it drops down into the hole of the, if you look, there's a hole inside of there, like a tube on the actual button that it's sliding through. So we just drop it down in there, make sure it's lined up. And once it goes down in the hole, you're all set. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I push on this, you can kind of see them wiggling and rocking around. They just push, they only have to push a little bit. Look at that one. They only have to push just a little bit to depress the clicker. And that's where you'll get your satisfying clicking noise when we're done. But once you've dropped all 4 of those in there, obviously you've gotten the old squishy ones out before you drop those in. Slide this back down in here with the lights, line everything up. And then we can put our cap back over it. Take our screws and put them back in. Remember, these are old plastics. 32 years old if my math is right. And they don't need to be very snug, just a little tightness here. You don't want to over tighten them and strip out the plastic. Now you can hear those clickers actually working. And you've done the other side. You can place both of them back in here, route your wires back underneath the little plastic retainer there, and put your brace back on. Start with the T27s here. Now we can switch over to our T20. Line up all your little plastic nubs, make sure they're seated. Get your screws in here. And again, tighten them down delicately because it is old plastic. And it doesn't take a lot just to snug it down. Other side. And there you go. We've got her done. And you can tell everything is nice and clicky again. That's how you can, on a budget, take your 30-plus-year-old car and get these buttons working again that haven't maybe been working for decades, maybe not even since you've owned the car. Attach everything back to it. So we'll start with this guy here, making sure our little nub is down facing the clip. Slide that in till we get the click. Take this one and slide it in here till we also get the click. And then see if we can get our little blue piece in here to slide in and lock that in place like that so it won't push down and disengage. And the last thing we got to do is hook up our ground for the horn. We've got those all, and we'll just make sure that when we put it back in here, there are slots here, it looks like, where we can put the wires to make sure they kind of stay out of the way. They're a little old and tired, so it may not stay there real well, but if we fish them on there while we push this up against it, it looks like we might be able to kind of keep them in place. Push this into place. So now it's against those captive screws back there. So I'm just going to take my T30 for the bottom and see if I can get these started by hand, just reaching behind here and starting to thread them. I can hear it starting to pull it in, so that's good. That one started. That one's starting to pull in. Let's try to get these 27s on the top started. Yeah, that one's going. That's good. Okay, now that we got all those started, we can go ahead and start running them down. That one's snugging. We'll get them all snugged up by hand and then tighten them down the rest of the way. With the 1/4 inch. So hard to engage a Torx head blindly from reverse. And lastly, the 27s. the final one. Here we go. All four snugged up. And we can go hook up the battery and see if it all works. Okay, we got the key right here so we can shut it off. You can see we're getting some sparks, so it's gonna... There we go. That may not be the last one as we tighten it up, but let's hope that it is. Yep, that might be the last one. Now that we've got that, let's go ahead and see if we're gonna get our alarm. That should have reset it. She hasn't been started in a while. Let's see if we can, we're on CD here. Let's see if we can cycle through the tracks. That's working good. Okay, so shut that off before we get any copyrights here. Let's try to go. Volume. Got our volume going down. Volume going up. Let's go to presets. We're flipping through presets. We can turn it off. Turn it back on. Recall. It's going back and forth between the time and the radio. On the recall, we'll use the seek up and the seek down and AM FM. And powered off. There we go. And that, my friends, is one quick, easy way to get your early 90s, 93 to 90 whatever, F-body, Trans Am, Camaro, back to working the way you would like to work when it was new on that steering wheel, even if it's never worked that way for you since you've owned it. And I've owned this thing since the very beginning. So 20 years of proof in the pudding right there that this works. If you want to try it 3D print, knock yourself out, use a good hard plastic that's not going to do the same thing that the factory did and turn to mush on you. But the toothpick and ballpoint pen plastic tube method is tried and true, and it's virtually free. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you liked a little bit of content back on the Trans Am. And I know that you guys like being able to do things yourself on your cars, and that's what we like to show you here at Fearless Mods. So thanks for watching. If you're not already liked and subscribed, if you've not already liked, please like. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe and keep coming back, and we hope to keep giving you more good content like this to come. Take care.